Welcome to Tribe of Country 44, where we talk about spiritual stuff and we talk about messages from beyond. We talk about everything. So we got updates and we have special guests. We have Shalom, Inana in the house, and we also have Mr. Rod Hayes as well. But I'm gonna key him in as soon as Rod step in the studio. But I'm finna bring the goddess in right now. How's it going, goddess?
What's up? What it do, people?
Doing fine on this wonderful day. I'm just trying to enjoy these vibes and keep grounding and bring the message to the awareness to our community and to our people. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people still wondering what's going to happen, what's next. A lot of things have been taken off, and the multitudes of energy of like people energy is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Ever since the eclipse. So, what is your take on some of the energy and what some of the message of the divine you have?
Well, I would say since the eclipse happened, and I posted a video about this on my TikTok account that, we are entering in the phase of being in our solar energy because the sun is a representation of the collective consciousness of the planet. All people who here on Earth right now affects the solar output. So with this solar output being at the level in which it is, it's basically, and it was in a sign of Aries, it's basically asking us, who are you? You know what I'm saying? And to step into that fully. It is going to create a lot of, I would say, some dysfunction in people because, at this point in time, we're still in, I think, no, we're in Taurus season, but we were in Aries at that time. It's going to ask us, like, who are we? It's going to show us who we are at every level of our lives. And it's going to require people to be honest with themselves. You know what I'm saying? Honest with how they feeling about their life, honest about how they're feeling about the people that are in their life, the circumstances in their life. And because we're living in a karmatic year of Saturn, we are going to feel the effects of that on a collective level, on an individual level. And so what it's going to do is it's going to require people to wake up, when people start asking themselves them hard ass questions. And that's when people have those aha moments in comparison to what's happening with the government, in comparison to what's happening in the religion and in Hollywood, right? All of these things, all of these people are being exposed because this is the time of the Great Awakening. So we're gonna have to get used to a lot of things being revealed, a lot of things being exposed, changes in our government, changes in our monetary system, changes in religion, changes in how we interact with each other as a collective consciousness. And with Pluto being in Aquarius, Pluto being a sign of destruction, death, and rebirth, we are going to be forced to transform. And right now, Pluto is in retrograde in Aquarius. This retrograde means that we get to slow down and we get to reflect on the shifts that happened during the time that Pluto entered into its path in Aquarius. And it'll be back in there by the end of the year, and it won't leave Aquarius for 20 years. So this is the universe giving us a slow burn and transforming our lives over the next 20 years. I'm an Aquarius myself, and I feel the transformations in my personal life on such a rapid pace, a rapid scale, that I know that the collective is going to be feeling the same things. And this is going to be the collective consciousness, the shadow self of the collective consciousness is about to be revealed. Nothing will be left hidden. Nothing will. Nobody will be able to hide anything, not even on a personal level. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're going to become more telepathic, right?
Yeah.
Spirit show us what we need to see about people, places, and things that we may have put on a pedestal, right? People are going to get embarrassed. Y'all see Diddy right now is being embarrassed in front of the whole world. All of the celebrities, politicians, they're all going to be embarrassed. This is what the collective consciousness has asked for, the truth, right? We have asked for the truth. And in a way, everybody's going to have to experience their individual truth and collective truths, and the world is going to be able to see it, especially with technology, you know. So Trump on
Yeah.
trial,
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of political and world stage antics, but it's still happening right before our eyes, and it's giving us an opportunity to check ourselves and see what
Mm-hmm.
we in that on the energetic level.
Yeah. Because the AI, I noticed the AI has been manipulating a lot of different news and flashes, like come across like the TV or something that's on the internet, because it make it look like it's real, but it's not. It's playing like a movie,
Yeah,
and we already know how the AI operate, because it make pictures, like put you in movies. Um, it touch up celebrities, making them look young, and also the AI has been like known to like do songs. It sound like real individuals, because it sample like over 1 million artists different voice, so it's in a data bank. So it's once it's in the data bank, it can manipulate any song. It could be country, it could be rap, it could be uh you know what I'm saying, hip hop, any type of like connection to the music, you know what I'm saying. So even like some of the, the songs that we normally don't even like view, you know what I'm saying, like there's that deep porch music, you know what I'm saying, that country back music, and that soul music, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of that right there been manipulated, and the AI been doing a good job, credit, you know what I'm saying.
one thing I will say about the AI is this: is AI is created from the consciousness of something with a much higher consciousness,
Yeah, I believe that.
which is humans. You understand? Human beings are the higher consciousness beings on this planet. So if we have a AI takeover, whose fault is it? It's not the AI's fault. It's the consciousness that created the AI. So if we are giving consent to AI, every time you open the app, every time you open Facebook, every time you open Instagram, every time you open YouTube, Twitter, whatever these different app mobiles, whatever the hell we use, what they call them, social media, right? These different AI picture taking apps. Guess what? We're giving our consent for artificial intelligence to do whatever a person has created artificial intelligence to do. So then we get upset when we give our permission, consent to an app or social media platform that was created by another human being, right? Give permission to them, consent by using the shit for artificial intelligence that they created to do what they fuck they wanted to do.
Facts. Yeah. So Rod team in, I also want to talk about a lot of stuff, especially CERN been doing a lot of on and off, like for the last couple months, and people been getting like various, and you know what I'm saying, you got to tell people don't be scared. It's gonna be okay, because we pretty much we got that energy, that etheric energy, you know what I'm saying, to change the narrative of like any construct, you know what I mean. So we must go into like mass meditation to override the system and override what's going on. And I do know about that, and from what I learned, you know, about mass meditation, because mass meditation changed a lot of things, you know what I'm saying. Um, Deep thought, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, what's your concerns about, what they've been doing? Because we got CERN in the United States. It's one in Chicago, I believe. You know what I mean?
We've been doing this since at the time of the Atlantean
Let me get
Empire,
a charger. Go ahead.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Let me get
been
my charger. Go
my
ahead.
people doing this manipulating energy since that time. That's what created the pole shifts and all these different things, and the scientists who were creating, genetic mutations and all that stuff in animals, and putting human parts with animal parts, and fucking with the fourth dimension of dream states. That's what CERN is. When Earth was prior, before the light lock, before we fucked up,
Yeah.
there access to the fifth dimension. And I mean, we were creator gods, right? I remember a time as a creator god, as an ascended one. And this is before the time of the Anunnaki, where, and then we don't talk about this a lot. And I was a part of the civilization, Lemurian civilization. And the Lemurian civilization before, there's always a rise and fall of a civilization. And before that, there was total godhood on Earth. When they say bringing heaven back to Earth, they saying the fifth dimensional consciousness of the third eye chakra was wide.
Okay.
So that is where we were able to bring to existence anything within the state of the imagination through the crown chakra instantly, right? Instant manifestations. Now we have this barrier between the third dimension and the fifth dimension per se, which is the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is controlled by the jinn, the lower self god, which create, and that's why we have the dreams and different things like that. So it shows you what's going on in the dream state, what's going on Earth in the third dimension, created from the fourth dimension, right? The space in between your highest self. We used to operate like that. And now with CERN and all of these different things that are technological, it kind of separated us from that higher self. And not to say that the higher self can't speak to us through technology, because the higher self, the fifth dimension, does speak to us through technology, but it must filter through the information within the fourth dimension to become real in the third dimension. Some people can do this instantly, manifest instantly, when they have learned to, through meditation, through clearing all of their meridians and different things like that, to clear their channel between the fifth dimension and the third dimension.
Yeah.
But still live in that fourth dimension. That was created by the Anunnaki, Marduk, Enlil, right? For them to worship them. That's that worship gene that Ra talks about. That is in the fourth dimension of the mind. So CERN and all these different things that are going on, yes, we can shift the energy. However, I feel like there, at this point, aren't enough people on the planet to avert such a thing, because there are still people who have powers in the fourth dimension, right, that are affecting the ability for us to master manifest on that scale. There are still a lot of people who are spiritual, who have yet to do their inner work, because a lot of them are sowing seeds that are not conducive to living in absolute truth. Fifth dimension represents the throat chakra, which is truth, right? So if people are not living in a truth, if people don't know the truth, then we'll still be operating from that CERN frequency. And all CERN frequency is really like telling you the truth about what people really got going on in their mind and a heart that they're not telling people about. Because right now we're not telepathic enough. Some of us are, right? Because we spiritual and we can tap in. I could tap into the fourth dimensional realm and I could tell you anything. I could tell you what people going through and their fears and what they hiding from other people. Right? I can go in there and I can see. So I can, because I am a dream walker, I see in the spirit realm what people are hiding and what they are going through.
Okay.
And what people are hiding and what people are going through in the fourth dimension, baby, if that shit came out like in the fifth dimension, like boom, they whole fucking ego will be just fucking disintegrated. A lot of people still in that shit. A lot of people will be embarrassed and humiliated. Like that's what they're doing right now. This is a whole humiliation ritual going on for the whole planet right now.
So that's what the shadow dope gangler people that been seeing, like they've been seeing like a shadow, like just following them, and people say, oh, somebody watching me. Yeah. Or they seen something on the corner of their eye or something. Is that their is that their spirit pretty much the what I'm saying, the yin and yang, the repair part that they didn't repair, that's chasing them, right?
Yeah. And then let's kind of, mother, she gets real, she gets very not agitated, but she wants us to be very careful with what words we use, because if we say repair, we have said that there is something wrong with us.
Healing. Okay.
Yeah. So when we acknowledge, because no part of us really needs to be healed, a part of us needs to be acknowledged, right, and made aware of, so that we can accept it. And when we accept it, instead of repair it or heal it, then it recognizes that there is nothing wrong with you ever.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with anybody on this planet. And the fact that a lot of people believe that it's something wrong with another person on this planet is what causes us to go through what we're going through. One, because a lot of people idolize celebrities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we've learned to idolize celebrities, we've learned to attach to people who have like a celebrity-esque kind of energetic or status, right? There's status chasing. There's a lot of flock creating. There's a lot of followers, Instagram, all these things, right? YouTube, you got followers. So that creates status of people who are immature in their energy, right, to becoming popular. And so because so many people don't go within to integrate with whatever information that their spirit is given, they go outside of the self instead of going within. That creates more, right, juice for people to be more popular and known and have status. And that is part of the shadow self of the collective consciousness, because people don't see things as the truth for what they are, because a lot of people have room when they do that. They have an obligation to their audiences to create a certain image of themselves that's seemingly respectable in society. Right?
Gotcha.
The entire time they are in conflict with themselves because they have not accepted a part of themselves. We heal, and I say this not in the sense that we have to fix ourselves, but the fact that we accept, I'm using acceptance and healing synonymously. We heal what we accept about ourselves. We integrate with that. We integrate what we accept about others that may not be a part of who we are. You know what I'm saying? We integrate consciousness on that level. But any form of separation within the collective consciousness of those on this planet, we are going to have to see that shit. That's what the eclipse represented. What goes in the dark, bitch, go dark, but the light come back and boom, you surprise, this is who I am.
Okay.
Right? The world will begin to see that. And the more we see fighting, I'm gonna tell y'all, you want to know where the separation is, look at where people are fighting at in society. Where are we fighting against in society? We're fighting against religion,
protesting, politics.
Right. We fight against government because government creates separation. Right? We are fighting against Hollywood because Hollywood created separation. We fight against homosexuality, most people, because they feel like this is a separation. Or we fight against this and that because we are scared of extinction. Like, we gotta fucking relax. We are on borrowed time on this planet. These meat suits is on Renaissance fucking time with Mother Gaia, because we have pests, parasites on her.
And you know what? And the thing about that, I feel like it's like a hourglass that just got with the sand just falling down. Like, you have this much time to get this right. You got this much time to raise the frequency. You got this much time. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've been seeing like the UFOs and, you know, stuff like that have been going on, because they sitting, they just watching. They trying to see if we gonna bring the vibration up to a level. What I really think is they gonna intervene, but they have to be a state of the vibration where it have to be high. You know what I mean? Because they already shooting, like every time the rocket go up in the air, you see like UFOs like chasing a rocket and it dismantle the rocket. You know what I'm saying? I seen. I said, wow. You know what I'm saying? Why would they keep blasting the top with these rockets? And you know what I'm saying? The UFOs will come down and the rocket disappear. You can see it come down. Like there's been several videos on it.
Yeah, I've seen one. I've seen several as well. It's because one,
Somebody trying to leave.
I want the humans to be afraid of who they are and the truth, right? But we understand that the humans have to get the truth in these doses or else they'll freaking fry their damn circuits, right? So me, myself, as an earth angel, as a healer, I know good and goddamn well that when it's time for these events that are going to shock people, right? They're going to leave people confused. And it's happening, right? They're going to have to come to the healers. They're going to come to those who understand what is going on. Many of us who are here are truly ambassadors for divinity, for divine galactic cosmic divinity. And we came down here to be the go-between people, humanity, and the higher realms, right? We came to be spokespersons on behalf of the source who is creating for us, with us, this reality that we've been craving for and wanting, because what everybody wants freedom, everybody wants a lane to express themselves. But because we're so separate in our consciousness, we believe that we are separate from each other in our consciousness. We fight against everything. How the hell do we think that the ETs, the divine ETs, gonna come down here and fucking reveal themselves to us and we can't even get along with one another? We got to recognize that, yes, they can shoot a missile at an ET ship, but a human being can kill an ET based on this vibrational frequency, because we got to learn how to control our emotions. We don't even know how to control our damn emotions yet. We each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how you think we still make fun of people who look funny looking and they human?
Yeah.
We still arguing about if a gay man and two gay men should be together or not. We still arguing about black people and white people and being colonized and shit. How the fuck we gonna act if the royal fleet?
That part. Yeah, Real House of Atlanta and all that.
We gonna think it was
Baddies program.
Bitch. So it's like humans can't even get along with humans right now.
and the thing about it, I just can't see how people go about their day with the burden of, you know what I'm saying, with all the stuff that's been happening around the world and stuff like that, and people still like, I gotta keep going, live my day-to-day type of thing. And I'll be wondering how people cope with that, you know what I mean? That's knowing that, you know what I'm saying, the weather's changing, everything don't look the same, the sun don't shine the same, you know what I mean?
That's a coping mechanism.
Okay.
For the truth, right? When I was 11 years old, I used to have visions and dreams, and the Anunnaki used to reveal themselves to me in those dreams when I was a little girl. I just didn't know who they were, right? There were a group of black people. One in particular, he was behind the sun, and he used to reveal his face in the sun to me. And I used to be like, look, you guys, the sun, look. And by the time everybody would look up, the shit was like the sun regular again. And then they were like, ain't nothing there. And then they would turn around and they would go off doing whatever they was doing. And then it revealed itself to me again. And then I would tell everybody, look, you guys, it's the fucking sun, look. And everybody will look again. And the sun will be just like it was, normal way people see the sun. And I got so upset because he revealed himself again. I believe it was Anu who revealed himself to me at that age. And I was upset with him because I said, you won't let them see. You won't let them see you. And it wasn't that he wouldn't let them see him. It was they couldn't see him. Right? They couldn't. So when you see people going about their day-to-day as if they have no sensitivity to what's going on, is they don't have enough sensitivity in the spirit to cope with what is going on. Because imagine if they had to cope with what was going on. These are the people who gonna lose their shit as the truth is being revealed more and more. That's why the Federation want to give them it in smallest doses as they possibly can give them, right? That's why shit coming being filtered through the news media now, right? Because they understand that the news media, it controls people's minds. It's telepathic mind control. So they giving it to them in doses. And then some of them who still can't handle that shit is the truth will not even pay attention and believe it. So they'll use other methods and ways to cope.
So what's your thoughts on demon syndrome? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you speak. I'll go ahead and answer this. Go ahead.
That demon eye thing is so fucking old. People just now figuring it out. I was raised up in the church, and there were exorcisms all the time. People doing they faces contorting, different things like that, because they were being run by a lower dimension. They were being run by a lower entity, right? They didn't have even no control over what they was doing. And people throwing themselves all over the place, and people's eyes shifting and their face changing. This is just demonic possession, and not meaning that something outside of you has possessed you, but there is something in you that still runs your program.
Yeah.
Not the conscious self, but another consciousness aspect of the self.
Uh-huh.
So people seeing that now, it's like finally they telling people that, one, we have a multiplicity of consciousnesses that are roaming this planet at this time, right? We have what we call lower dimensional consciousnesses, which we call demons and entities. And then we have higher dimensions consciousnesses, which we call angels and spirit guides, ascended masters and stuff like that. People who are able to see now that these lower consciousnesses run the fucking show around here with certain people, they're going to be able to see that whatever it is in the darkness comes to the light. I've been to the movies at times, and I can go to the movies way before people start, and I can look at a person, I say, that's a vampire. I can look at that person and say, that's a tall white. I can look at that person and say, that's a lower level demonic demon. I can see stuff in the spirit. I can say, that's an incubus. That's a troll, right?
Yeah.
I know people who are fairies. I know angelic beings. I know beings as they are. So when we see these lower level frequencies coming out in people, it's just like being in a demonic possession in the church. The Exorcist fucking showed our ass that shit in the fucking movies. That girl that was demon face syndrome.
Yeah, I've been playing on a lot of shows. Yeah. I've been seeing
So let's just remember the movie
Black Mirror. Mm-hmm.
Remember that movie Bird Box when it's like everybody must look.
Yeah, I remember that. So let me get this. I think Rod trying to come in. Rod, you got to go in and come out. Yeah, he coming back. Any messages you have?
It's gonna be wow for us for a little while. But it's necessary. What the Great Mother, what the Divine Creator really wants us to focus on is being good and kind to ourselves. Good and kind to ourselves, being good and kind to one another. Hey Rod.
What's going on? How you doing?
Doing beautiful. Being good and kind to one another, being good and kind to ourselves. Oh my gosh. That is the most important thing, the most divine thing. The most divine thing that we can do in our lives right now.
Yeah.
is to be good to ourselves, be
There you
kind
go.
to ourselves, be honest with ourselves. It's so important because unity isn't about us all getting along, right? Unity is about us accepting one another as we are because we are each other. And when we can see that, clearly see that, I am not separate from you. You are not separate from me. I am you. Everything is us. Everything is us. Then we can work on some unity and coming together and to create something better in the world. But if we can't even do that, we're not getting the point of all this suffering and shit.
Thanks.
Suppress rebellion. When you hold somebody down and when you don't allow a vibrational frequency that exists within to express itself, you get rebellion. When you hold a vibrational frequency down, because everything is energy, you get a rebellion. Like a motherfucker, like try to hold me down. I've had a lot of men in my life try to hold me down. And guess what? That Inana energy, she come back fucking swinging, right? She throwing haymakers and shit because she's like, no, not a motherfucker can tell me what the fuck to do. Because
Yeah.
suppression is rebellion. So it's good that we allow the beast within ourselves to express itself in a healthy way. In a healthy way. Because if we don't, it's going to create conflict within, and thus we're going to see conflict outside of us. So don't be surprised because we haven't dealt with the shit on the inside of us yet. So deal with that first. Everything
Thanks. What's up, Chief?
What's going on?
All right, just trying to get our people, this information, man.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. The tribes is tribing, and they're starting to realize that we actively in the process of reclaiming the um, sacerdotal matriarchal positions of tribal mothers. See, the men, we handled the wars and the heavy lifting stuff, and the women handle government. Government under our original jurisdiction didn't control your life. It made sure that you had resources available so you can live your life. That's what government did under the original tribal jurisdiction. The economic hitmen, we know them today as your bank robbing outlaws, right? Your Billy the Kids and your Jesse James. We didn't know they was central bank economic hitmen until you know they MO. Then you realize that who Bonnie and Clyde was really working for. International banking interests, destabilizing the big mama banks. Each tribal region had their own currency printed up in coinage. Normally it was the gold equivalent to the standard across the land. And then other tribes would have a turquoise equivalent to that gold equivalent. Another tribe is going to be bars with a tribal insignia on it to represent how they distribute their wealth. Some of them is silver, some of them was coal, some of them gave it to you in wood stock. Trade the gold for the certain amount of wood that you need as a woodworker, right? And in order to know what you need, all you have to do is tell Big Mama what you're doing. She's going to call the other Big Mamas to find out who already did what you're trying to do so that she can give you the best information to be successful at doing what it is you plan to do. So if you want to make wood furniture, she probably gonna call an Amish big mama and say, I need you to send Abraham down here to teach my boy how to cut this wood, right? And then Abraham come down on this horse and carriage 6 months later, because that's about how long it take him to get across the land on the horse and carriage. And but he come show you everything you need to know about making wood stuff. The Amish is following our tribal edict for the settlers on the land. We don't care what your religious beliefs is, but you have to live your beliefs out under your own vine and fig tree. You can't force it on nobody else, but ain't nobody supposed to be forcing that shit on you either. And that's what they face with the outside trying to force the modernization up on them when they was living comfortable following their tribal process that they set up when they was chartered to the land. And that's how you know who was authorized with pale faces to be here and who wasn't. The ones who wasn't was trying to get everybody to sign a piece of paper to sell off what they don't have.
Facts.
Nobody owns the land, and the mothers oversee how the land is utilized. And when the settling entity becomes too destructive to the land, then the rising chief's edict is replace the government because it's no longer functional for the great law. That's to govern the land, the air, and the water. And it's the law of the land, the law of the air, and the law of the water that tells us how to apply these laws to restore the matriarchy.
I see the cleanup happening right now. It just that it's going in a sequence. But everybody thinks it's gonna be all fast. No, man, it's a lot of work on this planet, man. It's a big old planet, man. So you gotta expect it's in sequence.
It's about
and all of this stuff is so if you got a plan that you want to run for 2,000 years before it matures, that means before it's time to cash that plan in. You got to figure out how to maintenance the plan for 2,000 years in order for it to remain in functional control until it's time to cash it in. It's time to close that chapter because it's no longer serving its purpose anymore. Right? And this is how you can follow the methodology of the church. The church was created before the Jews. Wasn't no Jews before the church. They created the Hebrew backstory in the Old Testament to give the Christ story a backstory. Right? But they still stole the basic tenets from the hieroglyphics in Kemet. They just reworked the story with poetry.
Remix, like a mixtape.
But they used the parts to trigger your genetic memory to follow the process. So they told you just enough of your history to be able to use it effectively against you as a tool to subjugate you. Now all they got to do is confuse you as to where you belong on the planet. Who's who on the planet Earth? Right? The George Washington Challenge said after the 200 years was up, we wouldn't know what side of the water we belong on. I say we belong on this side, and the people we was fighting against belong on the other side. They came over here. We didn't go over there. They declared war on us. We didn't declare war on them. Now we're declaring cleanup on their ass for the wars that they brought to our shores. So we cleaning up by restoring the original jurisdiction of the tribal authority without no apologies and no remorse.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of stuff with the Empress Rarebird, right? I'm following, but I'm I see a lot of the events that's going on. What's going on with these events for Empress?
These events, see, we got a process. The tribes have a process called the redemption process. Once I got to do a certain amount of work before I become connected with her. And the lodge is called the Raising the Hiram Abiff, right? Because only Hiram Abiff knows how to enter the shrine. The shrine is the shrine of the Black Madonna. The Black Madonna is the mother of the son. So she is the widow in Masonry that makes Hiram Abiff become the widow's son. And by mastering the mother line and the father line is how he get to be the rightful heir by doing this work. By blood and by right.
Yeah.
What would you say that work is?
It's part of using our oral tradition to systematically reclaim everything that's ours by public notice and public order, right? It's certain things that we had to be able to reclaim, like the key to the contract for the financial system was in the dollar bill. It was the contract between the Federal Reserve and the United States Treasury, right? So this was the contract that we needed to cancel because it was a fraud based on fractional reserve banking, where they use your debt as the collateral to keep you in debt. So you using your debt to furnish your life, but they using your debt to keep you in debt. You know, and the more they keep you in debt, they using your asset to fund their lifestyles. Opulent wealth, which was actually yours, but because of your lack of knowledge, they call you an imbecile in law and say you're not fit to handle your own estate. So as the heir to the estate, I systematically reclaim the state in 9 areas of people activity plus health, because the rest of them don't matter if your health is bad, right? So I systematically went through them all and told the people why they was using these things against us, where they wrote about they was gonna do it, so that you can see that they actually doing it, even though where they wrote they was gonna do it, they told you it was a fallacy. And all the time they doing everything in the document. But only if you know the countermeasures, and the elders wrote the countermeasure, Neely Fuller. So once you understand the countermeasure, now you know how to defend the board.
Why it's so hard for them to step down right now, or this like you have to pan out a certain way, a sequence or something like that? Because
Okay,
they know.
it can't be a sudden shock and transfer. It's going to be a gradual upheaval. The upheaval is going to expose the transfer of power and position, right? The narrative that's played out in the public is a stage show to entertain the masses, because they don't care about the truth. They care about being entertained, right? So they play these narratives like this Biden fiasco that they call the presidency. And that ain't even Joe Biden. He buried in Arlington Cemetery. How he the president? What this is, a weekend at Bernie's? Riding around with a dead uncle?
So they're gonna. I know it's gonna pan out, and I know Kamala Harris get ready to step in, and there's this impeachment BS going on right now, because they still going through the cases and all that, the articles and stuff. They're reading all Section 8, such and such. You know what I'm saying? They trying to find all this stuff and try to tell people.
They actually have all of the records of the stealing of the election, of his son's dirty business dealing. You name it, they got it. It's because they're letting the narrative play out now. They didn't already prosecuted and then executed Genocide Joe. So now they got these comedians and actors pretending to be the president using CGI and face masks. And we so intelligent, we keep falling for it because he looks just enough like him for us not to realize he don't look nothing like him.
Yeah.
Funny mirrors at the carnival.
What's the next alternative? Like, what's gonna happen next? Like, for like, you know, for the state and, you know, the corporation and everything else.
So we not operating actually under the corporation anymore. We operating in the continuity of government transfer of power protocols. We in the reconstitution of government. That's what you see the Empress doing. She's systematically restructuring the matriarchal government of the tribal mothers across the land. So, like a lot of the people that come out against us, they got a matriarch they need to be trying to tie in so that she can have access to the resources in order to funnel it to the people that need it in order for them to be successful in the community. This is all about allocation of resources at this point. How are we able to reach into the community and meet the needs of the most people? The basics has to be covered first. That's everybody need food, clothes, and shelter. Just like they had Focus Hope Reserve back in the day, and Reaganomics brought it out to the public as Focus Hope, they still have stockpiles of food. They've been paying farmers to stop farming so much because they got too much food in their storehouse. So these is stuff that's been prepared the old-fashioned way that don't perish rapidly. They're not made with the preservatives that causes the cheese to grow hair. So you don't have those issues and they have a longer shelf life. And that's just going back to the natural way of producing food. The canning process, some of the cans that they use, they got toxic mercury-like chemicals in them. And it's leaching into the food, but we don't know it. But the government cans is not allowed to use that stuff, and they banned from using it. And that's why all of the government stockpile food is in better condition than the citizen stockpile food.
So all the military city where the presence is being felt in all the cities. Is that part of like the cleanup, or that's like something that's finna happen, or is just like some kind of like
As
FEMA
we get,
situation?
as the system starts switching back to tribal, you're gonna see more and more National Guard presence. Because the National Guard is going to relieve the police state from their policing duties. Now, the sheriff department, on the other hand, is going to be revamped. And the U.S. Marshal, those were positions, the Sharif and the Marshal was the positions of law enforcement on the land, but we didn't have prisons and we didn't have jails. So think about that for a minute. What was the sheriffs and the marshals doing different back then where we ain't need no prisons? And we only had them to govern over the settlers. They didn't govern over the tribes. We governed ourselves in our own communities. And this is where you get the habit of talking about my block, my hood, right? Because tribally, you and your age group, as you become mature, become responsible to govern your community. Not no outsiders that they call police, policy enforcers of the slave laws, always checking for your free papers. They don't know you. They don't know your family. And they the ones creating so-called black on black violence where we killing each other in the hood because they the ones instigating it. 90% of the time, and we don't even know it.
That's what with the alphabet departments, that's gonna be dismantled, right? As far as like I've been hearing, like all the alphabet is gonna be dismantled. It's gonna be no more.
Yeah, that's all part of the corporation. The tribes is gonna take over. But they didn't villainize the tribes in the minds of the people, so the people scared of the tribes to take over, but never knowing that the tribes is them. The people is the tribes, the families, the clans, the gangs. Is made up of the people. So you can't be scared of the power to be given back to the people to control their own destiny. You got to embrace that shit. Because ain't nobody gonna stop it. All we gotta do, keep following the process. They can't stop it. They can just sit back and watch it. They got their popcorn. I told them 5 years ago, get your popcorn, enjoy the ride. They've been getting popcorn ever since. Every now and then they send me an emoji. Got my popcorn, still watching. But that's what they looking at. So it's all about tribal clan mothers asserting their jurisdiction and tying in to access to resources for their tribe. Sometimes their tribe is the extended tribe of the village, which include multiple tribes. And depending on the work that they already doing, that's how you know who they are. They already doing the work. You don't got to go looking for people to do the work. You find the people that's doing the work, and then you show everybody where they at. That way, you ain't never got to prove nothing. It prove itself when you show them the facts.
So what Louis Farrakhan play in this part? Far as what do he play in this role? What's going on?
At some point, he gonna come out and make an announcement, and the announcement is gonna be what they would call earth shattering. It's gonna change the paradigm of the whole perception of what's going on. He earned the right to announce the victory to the people. So we think he should be announcing the victory to the people. The Million Man March was a significant enough activation of the collective clans to work together to reclaim our stuff. He don't got to do nothing else after that. We all was able to touch the land at the same place at the same time where the dirt was going down at DC without tearing it up. Because they said as soon as we got there and felt the energy, we was going to go crazy and fuck shit up. Because we was going to remember that they look like us, but they ain't us, and start fighting each other. But we was a little bit wiser than that. And that was off the lead of the minister. He governed over that effectively as a true leader of the people. The work being done, you got to compensate that work. When Big Mama sends somebody to perform a function, they got to hold a position until they get a competent replacement for them to retire. Then they get to live out their old age and rest and becoming an advisory capacity. And that's what we used to call our council of elders. It's generally 72 elders on the council, right? Them is both male and female chiefs. Then you have your council of the matriarchs. It's like 100 and something, 105 matriarchs to a grand matriarch. And it's grand matriarchs divided by region across the land who ties into the great grand matriarch. So you go from a march of the mayors, then the mayors is the ones who talk to the matriarch, and the matriarch go talk to the grand matriarch. And then they all come together across the land and form a pyramidal structure. But it's a geometric form on the earth as a Tesla grid. But it's all energetic. It's the mothers tying together to exercise their jurisdictional authority under the grandfather clause to execute the grandmother clause. And the grandmother clause is the clause that gives Big Mama the right at any given time to reclaim the land, because the systems have become belligerent to the people. And this is what they talk about in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. So once the energy is activated, one of the chiefs responsible to figure out how to put it all together so that we could see our way out of the trickery and deception that was laid down upon us. They the ones said that the victors write the history. They the ones that said history is a lie agreed upon. But they never told us who was the victors that was writing the history and what the lie was that they was going to agree upon. We not privy to those negotiations. But somebody made that agreement and they following it. And we don't know who made it, because they declared people that wasn't us to be chiefs and by presidential order in order to sign treaties so they can look like us. But they wasn't us. Fraud.
God, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's so important that as the divine matriarchs do take their rightful place, that the council of elders, they have to understand that there's got to be acceptance throughout the land in order for there to be a flow in how things are distributed among the people. You know, everybody who's skin folk ain't kin folk. Let me just go ahead and put that out there, right? Everybody who say they skin folk, they not kin folk. Our people ain't always our people. You know, people had their motives and their agendas and stuff like that. So we got to recognize that first, that we here to not judge people based on, you know, the outer external forces, but what's the intention? What's the intention behind? Because I know many tribal people don't look like me, but that's my tribe. They're my people. So we got to be, you know, very careful when we making these alliances, because they're going to speak everything of who we are. And if there are cracks in the foundation of the alliances, the house that we intend to build upon won't even stand, right? The universe, spirit, source, great mother, she ain't even going to allow that shit, because she's not having it. So it's very important that we really, really, really get deep within ourselves to figure out who's the enemy. Is it an external force or is it an internal force? And I can guarantee you it's an internal force that's represented by an external force. So we got to go there first. It ain't no way out but through and in. So I can never not sit on that foundation, because it's a foundation that creates this whole world that we live in. This ain't no external something happening just by happenstance. This is a collective consciousness that's playing out in the physical world for we can see, but it's all the shit that's in our own heart, right? We got to guard our own heart. We got to understand how the mind works and the heart works. When it is in disharmony, when the mind and the heart is in disharmony, we have disharmony in our world. I can't expect my house to run in order, be in order if I'm the one who in charge of my individual domain and I'm not in order. That's how the world looks. The world is a reflection of the disharmony within self. So I say first go within, check the inside, make sure you harmonious within. And when we do that, our external world becomes more harmonious. And then when we do that, we can recognize, is there a need for war? No, because people checking themselves. People are seeking to shift the inner verse and not the external verse. So
war is a byproduct of patriarchy. Patriarchy is predicated upon stepping on your brother in order to get the superior position at the table.
But we the gods, though.
Yeah.
When we
Matriarchy is the correct function for us because we had to operate from that pure love state.
right.
But you can't be holding on to prejudices and ideologies of men and being claimed to be operating from that love state. You lying to yourself and everybody around you.
I mean, it's not a prejudice when you working within yourself, right? When you look at it from the internal, and
You
this
you could tell by how I feel.
Yeah, you can tell by how it feels. However, when we triggered by something external to us, right? That is an opportunity for your soul to develop and grow. And you allow yourself to see it in that light, then the internal, they say this, when an egg is broken from the outside in, there is death. But when the egg is broken from the inside out, is life. What are we trying to breathe? Are we breathing life or are we breathing death? Life comes from within. So when we shift within, and I can only say this from a personal level because who is it? Hold on.
Don't worry, my kid's doing the same thing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's right though, because when you have to outgrow the old wine skins in order to take in the new wine. You can't put new wine in old wine skins because the wine skin the bust. And it's the same way the snake got to shed his old skin in order to be able to live in his new body.
Dude. And so we can't fix, like Albert Einstein said, we can't solve problems from the same consciousness that created it. So that's an internal job. And I was going to say on a personal level, I can only speak from my own personal experience, but as I look outward to the world, I see the world as myself, right? I see what am I judging? What are my grievances and different things like that. And my higher self always gives me this class, and she says, when you get tired of something long enough, you'll fix it. And then I'll try to fix it. And she'll say, you didn't fix it right. You tried to fix the outside before you fix the inside. Let's work on the inside, boo-boo. So we get to working on the inside. I get to working on all the aspects of the self, the inner verse within. And guess what? The moment I fix my perception of life and the world outside of me, the world outside of the perception and the shift happens in the world. So in my own personal universe, I fix the mindset, I fix the heart chakra, I fix all of my meridians, I fix me, I work on me, and then the world around me shifts. That's what we have to make sure we shift the inner verse first, because the outer verse is going to constantly be a war if we got a war going on that's disharmonious within. It's difficult to create life from destroying something from the outside. You're going to destroy it, you're going to kill it. But we want to birth something that's new. And in order for us to do that, on the most deepest level, we want this 2,000-year plan to be a 2,000-year plan solid, so we get off this rock piece and move on to the next level of consciousness. We got to fix it inside. And that's the continuity plan for 2,000 years. As within, so without. As below, so above, because the higher selves are above us, waiting for us to take action here in the physical world to fix the inner verse. So we can connect to the higher self, so we can walk as our higher self, be our higher self. And until we integrate with all of that stuff, then yeah, it's going to be a boom, boom, until the shit goes up.
That's why all of the religions tell you to look up into the sky so that you're not looking within.
Mm-hmm.
They always want to distract you from the inner God so you can't control your manifestation powers in your own life. Then in their book, they tell you to let your light shine in the world, but they don't tell you how to do it.
Right, and that's the game. Right? Everything. They can't tell us everything, because if we knew the game plan coming down, it wouldn't be a game. Now, would it? It would be no game. I look at the opposite and opposing forces as, you know, the elites or whatever we want to call them, presidents, queens, kings, rulers, all of these different things that are outside of me that showed me, right? Showed us basically, we here, we awaken, we know that who we are is found within. They kept us distracted. Of course, that's their job to keep us distracted. We wouldn't have this game. We wouldn't say we was the overcomers like Elijah Muhammad. No, was it Louis Farrakhan that said the overcomers? Like Louis Farrakhan, we wouldn't be the overcomers unless we had that equal and opposite opposing force to show us that who the fuck we are. So right now, I'll be like, I fucks with Queen Elizabeth. I fucks with that bitch because, right? She had to show motherfuckers what it was to be a malevolent ruler, for us to rise up in our motherfucking power to be the rulers of benevolence. The Pope, all the secrets, all of the religion, even our own Anunnaki family, fucking dirtbag ass motherfuckers.
Don't get me started on them.
I've been seeing them ships, man. I've been seeing them spears.
Look,
I've been seeing them
Malachi,
eclipse.
they don't know it, but a whole bunch of ships coming to get Malachi York. They all over the place because he wasn't safe to go to his tribe on the ground. So they
Yeah,
had
I saw.
to intervene. They've been sending these ships cloaked in over Miami, over Houston, over Vegas, over Los Angeles, Chicago, New
I
York.
got pictures. I
And
got pictures of
they got boots on the ground. Motherfucker don't even know what they looking at. They look at this big ass muscle bound ass nigga. He one of them.
tall.
Yeah. You just think he a big ass nigga. No, he not. These sisters, they got the gaze that look like they looking clean through your soul. They is.
We told ass. They ain't
They
believe.
here. They boots on the ground, organizing the structure.
Yeah.
So I mean, shit. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I just see what's going on. I'm earthborn, so they ain't taking me nowhere.
Yeah, we got work to do down here. We can't
Yeah.
go.
I'm in the process of building heaven back on earth because they tore it down.
We gotta get it back.
So
Creating heaven from within. Right? We gotta create heaven from within, baby. You ain't gotta fight when you creating heaven from within, right? You know what I'm saying?
no.
So that's the golden age of fix right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It trickles, it's a trickle down effect. And I have to say that Mother was like, it's a trickle down effect happening. I was seeing in this.
It's not a true golden age.
Yeah. Some of
Right.
us there, some of us will have, this is what she showed me. Is if we haven't truly stepped into it fully yet, but it will be a trickle down effect, meaning that those who have done this, some certain work, spiritual work, specific work, humanitarian shit, will be the first among those who receive the bounty of the golden age to
Yeah,
be able to disperse the stuff, right? So you got to be on a certain energetic frequency to be able to be a recipient of that, because
I got
she,
the perfect example for you too.
what? Show me, tell us.
So under the old system, the VA failed time and time again in their services to the veterans. In the meantime, somebody created something called a Wounded Warrior Project, and the whole thing is organized by former military who wanted better treatment than the VA was providing. And they was doing such a good job that the VA gonna be absorbed by the Wounded Warrior Project, and the Wounded Warrior Project is going to be financed to take care of those that was wounded in war.
And even the ones that aren't, because I'm a veteran.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and they gonna have veteran cutouts. That's automatic, a house, a car.
yeah,
You know, there's if you got a handicap, it's accessible for your handicap. If you
hey,
don't,
they finna,
those are going to be for a lot for ex-military, but a lot of them going to want to participate more in their families' reconstruction than to strike out on their own.
yeah, that's what's happening now. I've been doing a lot of work with the VA,
Mhm.
veteran, and the services are subpar to say the least. And we've been working a lot to make sure the veterans are taken care of, and a lot of the programs that support the VA, like U.S. Vets, they are even going to be getting a lot of financial support to be able to help veterans more, because you can't take care of those who have fought your wars and then they come back and they're not well. And then on the city levels, city of Phoenix, we're working with a lot of community groups in the city of Phoenix as well, to start getting shit together, like feeding the community, and how the homelessness in Phoenix is just freaking through the roof. And we've been working hard. We've been working really hard to create these new opportunities. But like I said, there's going to be a trickle down effect. And some people's mother was saying, ain't going to have to worry about no handouts from the government, because some abundance is about to roll through for certain people, so that they are going to be sovereign. So their financial situation will be sovereign from anything that the government can give them. Like, they not gonna have to worry about money for the rest of their life. Like, it's gonna be some instant millionaires made over the next 2 years. People gonna be millionaires overnight, billionaires overnight. And when these millionaires and billionaires are created, we are going to eradicate homelessness and all this shit in the fucking year. There's going to be funds coming down from heaven, seems like, because that's what I was seeing in the spirit. She was showing me the ocean, and I was in California, and there was a huge wall of water that was coming towards the shore. And I was like, holy shit. And part of it went over my head and it hit somewhere else. But she was basically saying, grandmother said, there's currency, money. The water represents money and currency that is about to come. So you need to prepare yourself, right? So when this currency trickles down, it'll be dispersed in the right areas and stuff. So a lot of people are going to be philanthropists, not connected to the government, where the government is giving them grants and shit like that.
Government gonna be closed.
Huh?
The government gonna be closed.
But you understand what I'm saying? The government part that handles funds and distributing wealth among people. That shit, nah. Most
Yeah.
motherfuckers even
So that's what we call restoring Big Mama Bank.
right.
Big
So
Mama
so
Bank
people,
is those are the natural heirs on the land, right? And certain ones of them did certain work to unlock their inheritance, and they became known for their family as the family redeemer. right?
How do you,
And
I was going to ask you, how do you see that inheritance reaching people? That's what the process. Is there a process that, because what I was shown was a different process. Is there a process that you're aware of?
it's going to be a different process. Because the whole system is going to be a different system, right? Most of the processes that we understand is the old system.
Like reparations, different things of that nature.
Yeah,
That's
reparations is a carrot on a stick. That's
okay.
some fraud. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to talk about, to see if there was a process that, um,
No, reparations. How you gonna get reparations from somebody who don't got nothing?
right.
Once we take what's ours back through inheritance and birthright, they don't have nothing to give reparations with. We own the central banks in our sovereign capacity. So when we take the central banks, who gonna pay reparations?
Right. Yeah. That's what I was asking about, because there was two different things that I was seeing in the spirit. Sovereign banking, right? Where individual does not require money from any system, right? Other than their own frequency and
Yeah,
vibration.
this is the family banking system.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's
So
part of the treasury.
no, that's going to be okay. So the Small Business Administration talking about allocating resources to people that's going to perform the functions for the community. The Small Business Association is going to be having classes to teach family banking to the people that is going to be in charge of their family's bank, right? They need to know how to allocate the resource, what type of things to finance, what not to finance, right? How, because there's not going to be any need for interest because nothing is predicated up on debt. It's a cash and carry society. It's a fair barter trade. If I got a $10 coat and you got a $10 gold coin, then there's a fair exchange, right? So everything is going to be predicated up on equivalent exchange, which is the highest principle of alchemy. Don't give somebody something that leaves an interest. An interest is entropy on finance. Somebody is losing in order for interest to pay out. It got to come from somewhere, right? Fractional reserve banking exposes the deception in how the artificial currency is generated. Once you understand how it's generated and that it doesn't have substance to back it, then you see how they was able to accumulate wealth without ever having wealth. It's monopoly money. And they all playing a monopoly game by being trustees to your estate, living in your shit, living your life while you watching them, wondering why your life fucked up.
I had back when I was in my 20s, I used to my higher self used to communicate with me about being in the stock market. And at the time, it wasn't time for me to get involved in the stock market because I hadn't ascended enough spiritually to understand how to use power and money. Right? If I had it,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have had all kind of fuck boys in my life because I did, and I would have been giving money away to who didn't, who wasn't right, you know. So as I progressed in my journey, I saw myself being the financier for my bloodline. for my family and stuff like that. And the way that I was seeing it was, Spirit was like, listen, this money come down. You just can't be giving this money to people just to just do whatever the fuck. They have to have a certain level of awareness and consciousness, because when you don't have a certain level of consciousness, you're going to continue to create that same energy from the consciousness in which you got all that money. So when it happens, you're going to have to teach people. You're going to have to teach people how to shift their mind and how to shift and invest and stuff like that, so that you can continue to create more and generate more wealth based on how you invest in yourself, how you invest in your communities and stuff like that. So I feel like it's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to teach people how to invest in themselves so they can have a sovereign estate, right? Because once whomever the matriarchs, we receive the funds for our bloodlines, I don't want nobody hanging on me, right, asking me for money, because that's not sovereignty. I want them to have a sustainable foundation for themselves so they can create for themselves. And a lot of people don't even, like, from our lineages, have a poverty consciousness.
Yes.
Right? They have a poverty consciousness. They have a poverty mindset, meaning they get the money gonna blow some money, right?
You know, we ran experiments on that, and it's called the lottery.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
So because we needed to know if we came into sudden wealth, how will we individually handle it?
Right.
Somebody have to run the experiment. The other end of the experiment was called the dope hustle,
Oh yeah.
where it forced you to have to grind for it. But people think that you don't got no job and you ain't putting in no work. They don't know that being a drug dealer is more work than working in the plant.
Tell me about it. Yep.
Yeah, you gotta watch your back from the police all the time.
The police, what about the stick up man? What about the cat burglar? Right? What about the crackhead looking at trying to find where you hid the sack? So when you dip off to the side, he could slide up behind you and steal it. When you work at GM or Ford or Chrysler, you don't have to worry about that part. You don't have to worry about going to jail. You don't have to worry about having to kill nobody most of the time, unless you're in a love triangle. Then I don't know what to say about them people. But
So I was gonna say,
yeah,
I know you heard about how they explained what Antarctica was going on, but the volcano that was dispersing dust of gold, is that part of like some of the gold that they've been trying to keep secret, or like, because they've been trying to like keep Antarctica like, like closed, like from public and everything. So the gold that's coming from these volcanoes, you can explain on that, Rod?
most what they call veins of gold in the earth is in the old volcanic rock bed. These veins is produced because the gold is being refined in the earth's refinery under the mantle. The earth is doing the same thing in making the minerals that man is doing in extracting the minerals. The earth is just producing it and man is just consuming it. So it's not abnormal to find gold percentages in lava flow.
Mm.
It's
I know
just
I seen
normal.
that.
You have to wait till they get hard. You could see the gold glisten. If it
Yeah, they
was
had a study on that. It was article, news was coming out with it and everything.
well, it had an abnormally high level of gold in it. That's what made them mention it. But you got to remember, they got gold veins as big around as your body.
Thank you. We got gold in our veins.
Well, the gold in the earth is a side effect of the golden ones walking on the surface of the planet. It's the same with all of the platinum group metals. Those other so-called periodic elements are the byproduct that the earth produced from different species being on the planet. Once you understand the property of the element, all you have to do is look for a species with that property, and you'll know what it controls. It's the same energy signature frequency. It just played out in the microcosm, macrocosm. If it goes on in the earth, it goes on in the body, unless it's artificially induced. Then man probably going to artificially induce some shit to mimic it in the body.
That's why
So
I've been seeing studies like that. They say it's for them to like harness gold from my body, we have to be alive more than we it's like, you know what I'm saying, death experience. You know what I'm saying? They say it's more easier to pull like gold out of our bodies. So that's why they got the, you know, the hospitals and all that be like the, you know, like the selling of hearts and, you know, like lungs and
organ
kidneys and
harvester,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
they talking about black gold, melanin.
Okay.
The easiest way to get gold from the human is wait till this sacred secretion rise. Then you give him a spinal tap and get his spinal fluid, which would be, it'll look like olive oil.
Even when people give, you know how they have plasma blood centers all over the country?
That's the silver liquid. That's where they can get a lot of the silver element from.
And it look gold. It's gold.
Yeah, when it's done, after it come off that plasma spool, it looks like, yeah, it does, because it got a little
Yeah,
gold
but
tang
that's
to it.
because it still have the remnants of the iron element in it. It's just as watered down that make it get that yellow appearance. That's from the iron that's in the red blood cell. But the plasma is more closely related to standard cerebral spinal fluid, what we call the silver secretion, which is the common, when before you awaken, that's the only thing you pumping through your four brain chambers. When
Like
you awaken, and it then sucks up the gold liquid.
the silver cord.
The silver cord is the frequency that you connect with until you raise the sacred secretion. The silver cord ties you back to your mama.
Right.
It's like your umbilical cord in the world, and until you get a sponsor, you always connected to your mama as a man. And that's why when you think you looking for a woman, you ain't looking for shit. Your mama using you to find the right one for you.
I know, right?
And most of the time, we don't want to listen when she say that ain't the right one. We try to force it, and it don't work.
Or sometimes a man is so traumatized by his experience with his mom, he looked for everything in opposition to what she represented to escape that childhood trauma.
Never knowing that was the intention of his mama for treating him that way. She just didn't know it.
Right? She didn't know it either.
She had to treat him that way in order to make him change something in the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
He needed to have a different paradigm in order to tap into the right frequency to fix what's wrong with the bloodline. That's all we here to do in cycles. Every time it get messed up, the old ones come back and fix it all. That's all we doing.
It's the last time I will be graduating from Earth School. So, yeah.
This was the biggest
I hope
graduating
so
class
too.
in the history of Earth.
Look around and find
This is the biggest graduating class in the history of Earth.
it is.
But
We got
this was the hardest curriculum in the history of Earth as well.
it is.
It took a long time to get it right though.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we were stuck in the loop. Because until you get it right, you're gonna keep experiencing it in a different way.
It took a long time to
Cycles
get it
within
right.
cycles. Yeah. But now all of the graduates is graduating. They said it was impossible to
Yeah.
break from this particular dynamic.
Yeah, this was
No,
a
it
hard
ain't.
it was a hard spell to break for a lot of us.
Mm.
For a lot of us, it was a hard spell to break. Well, some of us, we chose to have this shit hard to break so that we could break this
We
shit.
had we had the settings set on hard as fuck.
We did. We got fillings in our mouth and our teeth as children that was full of fucking mercury that fucks up your brain, right? Calcifies pineal gland like a motherfucker. We was raised on all kind of toxic ass foods and now we got radio waves through the radio, through 5G. All of these things are disruptors, right? So I have to tell people this. If you have awakened during this time, give yourself some fucking credit. Give yourself some credit because this was a hard fucking cycle. This is a hard damn game. And we still...
No lies told.
Right. And we still getting there, right? We ain't all there yet. But if you've awakened to the truth and you are tapping into yourself, you have done good.
Hey, this was an all-star game between the feathers and the fezes.
Won it though.
We blew their ass out. Fuck winning it.
They was a worthy opponent though.
For the first quarter.
They was a worthy opponent because they tried to kill.
I come off the bench. You gotta remember, I come off the bench. So most of the game, I wasn't in there. I was just watching from the sideline. But when they called me in off the bench, all them motherfuckers can say is, "Who checking him?"
And then some of them, they sleep on you because they don't think that you got talent and you got game. And then you come in and you the fucking MVP of the shit, right? And they were like, oh, we could play. This person doesn't look like they could play, or this person didn't seem like they had it. No, the juice, when you got the juice, you gotta hide it. You can't show your hand. You gotta, they hide you. Some of us, they hide our asses in plain sight.
Well, 007 secret weapon.
07.
Hey Rod, so there's another video on online. It showed a man walking on the sun. Is that Anu or is that Ra?
Look, this is a 3-dimensional mind matrix simulation network.
Gotcha.
The moon and the Dark Knight satellite is projecting the set of imagery that's controlling the paradigm.
Okay.
When you understand how the hologram works, then you'll know they can put anything in the hologram in order to deceive you while you playing the game. And it's a game, but it's University Earth, but it's a prison planet because it got took over by the delinquent students. So they had to call in the dean of the university to challenge them to a contest so that we can get their bad asses out to school. They thought they was more intelligent than the teachers. But that's because they was more brutal than the teachers, didn't make them more intelligent. So the teachers allowed their brutality to become their best teacher. So while they using brute force, we flowing like water all around them. So all they can do is get wet, splashing water on their face. And we just hang 10, surfing the waves right on around their ass. They thought that by putting the weird talker language out in the public domain, that none of us would be able to figure out the ghetto code, dash, and that we would be able to realize the real lies that the real eyes see. Now you gonna see a sea walking across the land. But it's just them boys in blue. And we ain't talking about the popo. And they're gonna be followed close and healed by what we call a streaks full of blood. That's them bloods be walking. Right? And from there, we gonna see them disciples honoring the king of who they disciple to. And them El Rookins gonna be rooking. And them vice lords is gonna be lords of their vices at the family picnic. They gonna be second line dancing on the first line in New Orleans.
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras, coast of motherfucking coast. You're gonna see nappy-head Negroes with big feather regalia all up and down the streets because they know who they was before the settlers came. They think that's how we dressed on the daily. That was ceremonial garb, and it's time to have some ceremonies, right? Because we are ritualistic people, because we know when we perform the ancestral rituals, we get to exercise the right to the earth right that the ancestors left behind, which is a whole bunch of keys to unlock the kingdom, to bring harmony back to the land by restoring the great mother back on her throne. It's all part of the holy drama.
In real time.
In real time.
Damn it, man.
This shit gonna be real good because I mean, to be honest with you, it's rightful to have righteous, and I'm gonna just expound righteous women, righteous divine mothers rule. Righteous. Now we don't want these divine mothers who still got traumatized and fucking vibrant.
No, we have those goddess glow up groups for them to go and heal. The restoration of the Califia queens. They're going to have castles all up and down the West Coast where the sisters is going to be on resort until they heal. It take how long it take. Some going to stay there for 6 months. Some going to stay there for 45 years. But when they leave, they're going to be healed, and they're going to heal everywhere they go. Because healed women heal women by accident or on purpose.
I mean, you heal regardless, in men's and women. It's gonna because a healer is typically people, and then the women who are healed. When you are healed, you're gonna have to recognize that your healing gonna trigger a lot of the unhealed wounds and traumas in other motherfuckers.
All that's part of the coming to the awareness of the self.
You got to be prepared for that, because not everybody gonna go 100% for righteousness, because like I said, some people still have agendas. 4-dimensional shit still happening in the mind matrix and of the people. So we gotta be open-minded and open heart so we can heal and shift this planet. Otherwise it's gonna be more of the same shit. And 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius is definitely gonna bring that out, because it's representing the transformation of the death, rebirth, and the transformation of the soul. So we gotta be prepared for that. And I'm not afraid of it. I'm just in observation of it. I'm a watcher. Spirit told me I'm just here to watch. I don't gotta do shit. I just need to
listen.
Whatever I report Prime shit. I report back to Prime or whatever I see. So if I don't need, let me just show y'all how powerful this is with the divine feminine, the great women who are watching, that we don't even have to be involved in much. Spirit's like, you don't have to be involved in much. All I had to do was see something happening through a big corporation, and they closed this week because of some shit that I became aware of. And then as I was watching, I kept seeing signs that saying, watch, first watch, you're on first watch. And my higher self, she was like, you didn't got to do nothing. The moment you become aware of something, you report it back to the prime creator. And I was like, damn. So a lot of us are going to have to just be on this silent observation of the planet, because people gotta get their shit together and their heart right. And when we see it's not together, we ain't gotta fight, we ain't gotta do shit. All that has to happen is we have to observe that shit, and the universe and prime creator gonna handle it, whatever needs to be handled. So healing is absolutely imperative, and we not healing to change nobody. We healing to change ourselves, and that's that inner work.
Look, this just so people know. Just because the person healed don't mean that they won't cuss your motherfucking ass out or slap slab out your mouth.
Yeah, that's true. don't mean
Just
don't.
because,
Yeah, that
yeah,
part.
That part.
yeah, just because the person healed don't mean that they ain't still with the smoke.
Well,
They
Smoking.
what your intention is behind the smoke, because I can give somebody some smoke and from a healed place, right? And then heart chakra of love, because you here to protect yourself and you here to protect innocence, right? So yeah, you gonna get that work. He don't mean that you don't judge a person negatively or your traumas and your wounds don't guide you to react in a certain way. You know, you always act from a place of love and truth and not from your woundings and your fears and shit like that. That's healing when you're not acting in fear.
sometimes you need to whoop somebody you love ass
Yeah,
in
and that's
order for them to get the message that they doing something that's detrimental to the family.
Straighten up
It
type of
don't.
thing.
It,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what my
it
dad
don't mean
used to say.
it don't mean the love ain't present because the ass whooping is necessary. That's why Big Mama kept 4, 5 of them big old 300 pound, half a cow lifting every morning, boys out in the field for one of them nephews that think he can smell his piss now, and he want to stand up to Big Mama. Big Mama not finna fight you. Uncle Charlie, Uncle Joe, Uncle Willie, you come up here and talk to this boy. He done stood up to me. He done lost his man. And they gonna take you out there behind the barn, as my father saying, dust your ass off. If you want, if you want to be with the big dogs, you gotta stomp with the big dogs, or you gonna end up getting stomped by the big dogs. It ain't nothing wrong with that because some of us men, in order to do what's right, gotta know there is good men that will correct our bad behavior. So therefore, we already know govern ourselves accordingly. And that's not gonna tolerate you being disrespectful to the community. This is why we had check-in chiefs. We don't want nobody to accidentally get hurt on our territory. That's a VIP to our people. The check-in chief will make sure you had VIP treatment when you got to town. Now they got it looking like the check-in chief is a villain because they don't know what his function is. You used to find the checkout chief working at the barbershop. And if it was a female check-in chief, she was 9 out of 10 working at the beauty shop. That's why they got the legendary status in our community that they have. When you new to town, you go get your hair done. When you get done, you know every place you need to go and have a good time before you leave. That was the first thing you did. The men come to town, they go get a shave, and they used to take a bath at the barbershop, right? So while they sitting there taking the bath and they talking to the barber while he cutting somebody's hair, by the time he leave, he know every place. He know where to meet his chick at for the week. He know where to go get something good to eat. He know who Big Mama cooking, who Big Mama ain't cooking. Cause we didn't have restaurants on every corner. We had to go to somebody's house to eat when we out of town. Right? So we didn't go to just anybody's house. We wanted to go to somebody Big Mama house. Why do we already know to look for Big Mama when we in a foreign land, foreign part of the country? Because every Big Mama gonna take the stranger in, and you ain't gonna give her no problem. Because, like I said before, she got them big ass uncles out there in the barn waiting on her to call.
And she the oracle. She know everything, right?
Everything.
She understand the strangers, the needs of the strangers coming in. So that was a sign of respect. And this is another thing. A sign of respect of the great mother is the man who comes to her for advice, right? You ain't teaching her shit. You coming to receive wisdom from the great mother Sophia. So that's that great mother energy. She ain't, everybody understand that big mama great mother energy is the energy that love everybody, but she gonna read your ass. You can fool many people, but you can't fool an oracle. You can't fool the great mother. And when she see you, she looking through you. She looking into the soul of you. So many of these men, the men back in the day, they knew this shit. That's why they didn't fucking play. It was the young ones who didn't recognize who they was in the presence of. Right? She gonna
You,
let them act.
you remember the old man used to go to the Big Mama to get a mojo hand before he go gambling?
Yeah, he needs to have that blessing because she knew shit. And if it
See,
wasn't his, she would tell him, "No, tonight ain't your."
Big Mama, I need you to make me up a satch about to go out here and look for me, old lady. I need to catch something pretty tonight. Big Mama go in there and put him something. This should be so, the smell be so sweet and so loud.
Because we knew how to
You,
put the mighty herbs together, the love herbs, the divine herbs.
mm-hmm.
I make
you
some.
be fighting the women off at the club, at the juke joint. We ain't had a club. We was at the juke joints or the hole in the wall,
Walls.
or if we was in somebody barn. We used to have the concerts was in the barn. That's where
Yeah,
you get your barn bands from. That
right.
became country bands when we taught it to the settlers.
But
Our
yeah, don't,
culture, we got our fingerprints on everything. Therefore, it's easy for me to tell you where to find it.
because we created all this.
Mm-hmm.
We here.
I seen that celebration in my dreams too, Rod. Like like it was a big celebration like around the world.
Yeah, like
It's like it happened like Mardi Gras, exactly how you said it.
Yeah.
you had in Star Wars, in the movie Star Wars, when the universe was finally had received balance after Darth Vader threw the Sith into the whatever the fuck he threw him into, a portal, and then there was balance in the universe between the light and the darkness, and they had this great cosmic celebration all over. This is what we're experiencing and going through right now. Earth is just, we are just point of it all. Everything that is happening in the cosmos is happening on Earth right now, and we are the 0 point to bringing back balance to the universe. And she ready to be balanced because she's just been in this loop and she's tired. She's ready to get some shit balanced out. So it's gonna take some time and some work for us to do it, but it's gonna happen.
We ain't never ran from no hard work.
It ain't hard. It ain't even gotta be hard. It could be easy
It
fucking
didn't
peasy.
matter. We ain't never ran from no work.
I mean,
Even when we trying to avoid a job, we have to do some work.
we gotta
So
do something.
that's part of who we are.
10%.
It's the slave master that make the job worse.
We just don't want to do no work for somebody and they ain't gonna reap no rewards for it. We don't want to work for free.
It's 10% manual labor, 90% mental, emotional. 10% manual labor. You can create a lot. People gotta learn. You know how to use the mind, Rod. You know how this thing work. You only gotta put in 10% effort, my nigga. G. You know that, GD. You know God don't have to do that much. We just gotta put in 10%. And the other 90%, it takes care of itself. We ain't gotta put
10% go a long ways.
play. Yeah.
We never had a problem with building pyramids, ancient what we call megalithic structures, and carving faces, intricate designs in the stone. And they still trying to figure out how we did it. And I'm sitting there laughing, talking about you don't know laser technology when you see it, goofy. So
They were
yeah,
toys. We were
look,
having
if you have the right laser and you program it and you enter, it's a mathematical formula. It's called the law of efficiency. Those cuts will be so fucking sharp in order to create the design that you're trying to create. And that laser will be able to repeatedly duplicate it at a rapid speed.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how they cut the stones for the pyramids. I know because I was there.
That was play, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That was the
The reason,
easiest you ever did in your
look,
life.
we had these cones they call anti-gravity rods. You put you and one dude on one side, and then there's two dudes on the other side on all four corners with one of these anti-gravity rods. And you can pick that thing up like it's a piece of paper with all four of y'all and move it around like it don't have any weight. The scientific explanation of what's taking place is using frequency, it relaxes the Higgs boson ties to itself. In string theory, it's like untying a knot temporarily in order to remove density of matter. And then you can shift that thing like it's nothing. It was duplicated by Edward Leedskin with the Coral Castle in Florida. But they don't know what those things was. They keep calling ice cream cones. Tesla also discovered the technology and they stole it and put it in the archives to conceal it through the Smithsonian and government agencies. Right? So we know that the technology real because it's been used in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And it's the same technology that Tesla wrote about. And it's the same technology that they showing you in hieroglyphics, but you don't know what you're looking at. You think he holding the lotus flower.
Mm-hmm. Same way about that neural chip. They've been working
Mm-hmm.
on that for decades.
Look, that's the story. They told us that in the movie Johnny Mnemonic. Remember Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves? Ain't it ironic that Johnny Mnemonic was also Neo in the Matrix?
It's
Yeah. Yep.
And he was also the alien in Central Park, protected by the giant metal alien. Right? This ain't no coincidence. This all started as a garage experiment. What was the name of it? Dude, I lost my car. What was the one before that?
Oh, you talking about the with them two boys in the garage?
Yeah, it was Keanu Reeves and that dark haired dude.
Oh no,
Yeah, dude lost my car. I'm trying. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's how Bill Gates started with Microsoft. So he's telling you about the techies. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and a couple and another dude started in his garage. And they all went off to be billionaires. Ain't that something? Now all the Keanu Reeves characters, John Wick. John Wick is not just an assassin. He's also a blood heir to the high table. That means that at some point he gonna have the right to assert his jurisdictional authority to take over the high table if he so choose. Right? Because he got the blood and the right. That's how he was able to stay alive in 3 by using his connections to the high table, his family link.
All these movies was connections of telling us like this finna happen.
Mm-hmm.
But they were doing like wind talking and all that in between.
Yeah. So imagine that John Wick, he's not using guns. He's using receipts of knowledge. And he's putting the receipts in the public domain. And everybody that he hitting with the receipts is the people that was saying that he ain't know what he was talking about. Right? Now, use that under the pretender to the throne. The pretender to the throne is the rightful heir. In order for him to assert his jurisdiction as the rightful heir, he has to go on a campaign to round up the support in order to have the ability to enforce his jurisdiction. Right? And then once his support is in place, he establishes and reconstructs the government that's friendly to the cause that he's pursuing in order for him to reclaim his birthright to the throne. Now, going from pretender to the throne to teacher of the people, because in the campaign, if the people are well informed, they support the righteous leader. But when the people are misinformed, they will tear down any leader. Right? So by continuously putting out referenceable information and telling people the sources of information that they can look at so they know that you didn't pull it out your ass. Now they forced to look at the reality that we was already here and that the slave narrative is a subtext of the total narrative to disassociate the people from the land. Or else there would have been no need for a paper genocide. How do you take the land from the people that's native to the land? You can't. They have to either surrender or forfeit. So we ain't giving up and we ain't quitting. So that means we can't lose.
The Hopi prophecy did say that that was going to happen. It'll come to pass when the men of the water would rise up, and that would be the trigger to the end of the way things have always been. So I mean, it's gonna happen
That's
because
them crabs crawling out the water. We call them crips.
yeah, y'all ready to go ahead and fucking take whatever y'all gotta take down and stuff like that. Just I ain't here from the I'm a remote. I have remote influence, so I be seeing it in the spirit, and I was seeing a lot of y'all out there fucking up shit. Now I just watching, I just looking, and the feminine energy when y'all get through tearing up whatever y'all need to tear up, right? The healing.
Yeah, it becomes real erotic at that point.
Yeah.
So that's why the collapse of the bridge, the Baltimore Bridge, it symbolized the Babylon's falling. I mean, it's
That's the
everything
symbol
finna be
of it.
smashed.
What's on both sides of the river?
Uh,
A bank.
bank.
The banking
Okay.
collapse. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we talked about this earlier. The key to America is the contract that's on the face of the dollar bill between the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve. Francis Scott mean Francis Scott Keys. Francis means French. Scott means Scottish Rite. The keys was the key that was in the dollar bill to the banking system. The Black Swan event is the emergence of the new economy. This is what they warned about. But in order for that, they have to signal that it's the death of the old economy, the breaking of the contract. So the French built the Eiffel Tower, but they sent us the Statue of Liberty. Eiffel Tower is a homonym. The Paris Accord was signed in Paris, and nobody that was from over here was on that signature. So whoever the agreement was made with didn't have anything to do with the non-treaty tribes of the Americas. Most of us as non-treaty tribes that they wrote off as African Americans and Negroes and erased us in paper genocide and switched us out on the Trail of Tears with the servants they brought over as Mongolian Huns and Vedic slaves. And they came over and took sides with the original people of the land. Some of them took sides with the enemy, so they gave them casinos. That's so that they can never say that they was denied wealth on their own land. But it ain't their land. They filed out Indians, Dawes Roll Incorporated. Right? So they tell who they is when they do nothing to aid and assist any of the other tribes. It's only one condition on the land that will make the tribes not help each other. It's called a warlock. And you enter into a warlock when the land is at war. And the land is at war as long as it's under patriarchy. Because patriarchy is established to fend off the coming war. We was fighting patriarchs, so the matriarchs put the patriarchs out front. Soldiers on the battlefield. Big Mama called us all to war, then they sacked us from the back and attacked our women, and they called them the Califia queens, the Amazonians, right? The Wonder Woman and family. That's the story of the Califia queens before they was attacked by the Olympians, which is actually the Spanish Armada. It's all told in code, but we got to know how to translate it in order to figure out what the heck they telling us. They put it in cartoons, they put it in the movies, the comedians tell it in the jokes, the singers sing it on song. But if we don't have the ear to hear, we'll miss it every time.
Come on, Mom. Thank you, man. Thank you, Rod.
Got my girl on here. You knew I was gonna show up.
I look forward to the beautiful world that we create. Y'all do what y'all gotta do. I'm over here on respite.
Yeah. Man, I appreciate everything, Rod. I mean the knowledge and you know what I'm saying, the update, because a lot of people was like, man, what the hell's gonna happen? Like, you know what I'm saying? Cause like that's why people was like, you know what I'm saying, like certain people like accumulating, you know, ammunition for like, you know what I'm saying, a hard day. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot
When
of people that I know, street life, they see it too. You know what I mean?
every bow must break. Everybody held in high esteem that was doing the dirt must be revealed. When you think one man fell, it's the beginning of a chain reaction because they all in there to serve a purpose. And if you can't see the purpose, you don't know what they doing,
Mm.
right? If you know a dude gay, you send him to do some gay shit with a gay motherfucker, right? And this is the motherfucker that we need to get. So you slide your little sissy boy up under him and tell him to hold his position. Whatever the fuck happened, don't let that motherfucker go.
That's why we call it. That's why Cat Williams kicked it off. Once he kicked it off, I knew it was gonna take off then.
Yeah, the cat was out of the bag.
Man.
But everything that's happening right now, I mean, are we surprised? Really, are we surprised? Like, come on. I
Y'all,
don't.
y'all don't even remember Felix the cat.
I remember feeling that.
Felix the Cat, Heathcliff, all
You
of them.
remember what Felix was?
Yep.
He was a secret agent,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he was a badass secret agent, kind of like a rock and roll rebel.
Periods.
And you know his counterpart was Betty Boop.
Yes.
So think
Yeah.
about that. That's like Pepe Le Pew and that cat.
Cat. Yeah. The little stinky little Pepe. Yeah. But like, for real, like everything that's happening with everybody out here, like I was telling Z earlier, like it's gonna be like Bird Box and shit, right? They said everyone must
It,
look.
it kind of is. That's UV rays.
What's that?
Bird box. Them UV rays that's killing the people.
But everybody got to see that shit. You can't escape it.
Right. But they tried to cover up their eyes so they don't see it.
They don't see. That's like what Spirit was kind of like. I was watching it again, and what Spirit was kind of like diving into was your spiritual senses. Like people not willing to look at stuff. Z was asking me why is it some people can just get along as if nothing was happening in the world right now. And I was telling them, you know, people not spiritually sensitive enough to really look at the shadow self, the shadow side of life, right? The things that don't feel good, and a lot of things that people may be embarrassed about. So right now, because the age of Aquarians, as we entering in this age, it's the age of truth. It's the age of light. Everything will be seen. Everyone must look. This thing with Diddy, it's like a everyone must look. Then you got people like, no, not Diddy. Yes, my motherfucking nigga, Diddy, right? And all
Y'all know how you got that name, Diddy?
I don't know how. I don't really give a fuck. Diddy,
I'm trying to give you some game. That's all.
The diddler.
right? Like, come on, like the D word.
You don't know. You don't know who Diddy is. Diddy is Diddy Kong. That's Donkey Kong Jr.
Lord Jesus. I was
A
having
ba-
a moment
listen,
small.
listen. A baby gorilla.
Yeah.
Listen.
The fucking
The
die.
gorilla is notorious for one thing: his grip.
Yes.
Right? Who named him Diddy? Biggie. Right? Biggie is telling another chief Diddy is holding a position. Okay, now what position is he holding? He holding on to Clive Davis.
Yeah.
If Diddy fall, he can't fall without Clive. It's impossible.
Clive going down too.
Yep.
If listen, chain reaction.
Reaction.
Kim Kardashian is the queen of the damned.
Mm-hmm.
Played by who?
Aaliyah
Who allegedly died how?
in a plane crash.
Right. But if you look at the crime scene is a firefighter training site for a plane crash.
Right. Yeah, we
Because
all.
the plane just can't conveniently crash with a trail around it of just walk down grass to sand.
Right.
So we're supposed to believe everything we see. But the songs say, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So if I can believe half of the story, I have to be able to figure out where she at.
Mm.
And so now I have to look at it with my left eye.
Right.
That's my mother eye
Right.
because it's controlled by the right brain,
Right.
which is my right mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if I look at it with my left eye,
Mm-hmm.
using my right mind, I'm saying she's on Sabi Ranch with left eye.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
The
but
code,
uh-huh.
the codes and the messages is all there.
Yeah.
That's why we say never laugh at a great man when he fall. Instead, study.
Yeah.
Study it. Who's behind it? Why is he falling? Who decided he should fall at this time? What was their motive? What's the end game?
Dominoes effect.
See, chain reaction. Chain reaction. In order to pull the plug on the program have to be set up where you can control how it falls.
Mm-hmm.
Control demolition.
Demolition. Like the World Trade Center. Yeah.
World Trade Center, 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
911 is an emergency. Cowards tried to murder me from the hood to the burbs. Every one of these sucker surgeons. Shit, I'm legendary, niggas scary, you paralyzed.
911 is joking, joke down.
So
So
Mhm.
mission is going down.
Yeah.
I'm just grab my damn fucking popcorn. I don't even watch it much because I'm too busy building some infrastructure. Cause I'm like, this shit going down anyway.
Yeah.
Let this shit
Well, you know, we only got two kind of people: the ones who can't wait for it to fall and want to see every second of it, and the ones that say when it get done falling, tap me on my shoulder.
That was the accent Z.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up right there, Rod, because it's getting over that hour.
Oh, it's
Yes,
almost
sir.
2 hours
I
now.
Yeah,
enjoyed
man.
it.
I definitely love all the information and all the stuff that you've been doing, man. Because I know you putting your foot on the neck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been dead serious. So
Thank you for what you do.
you you gotta get in touch with me too on Instagram.
What?
I said you gotta get in touch with me on Instagram.
Who, me?
Yeah,
I gave you my telephone number, didn't I?
I have to look and see.
Thank you, guys.
That's in the spirit too. Twice.
We'll straighten it out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's straighten it out.
Yeah.
Sit yourself down, girl, and talk to me.
Yes.
Tell me
Thank you,
what's
guys.
on your mind.
I'm just
Thank
chilling.
you. Much love to you, guys.
You too, Z. Thank you for the invitation.
You more than welcome.
Because I wasn't doing. I've been doing my own little thing here. So thank you for the invite. I appreciate you.
All right, Rod. Keep
All
in
right,
contact with you, man.
yes, sir.
All right. Love you guys.
All right,
Love you, man.
yeah, peace.
Peace,
Peace to the
Rod.
God.
Yo.